All right, so today we're diving deep into all the rumors swirling around the iPhone SE4, supposedly dropping in 2025. And the leaks have us wondering, is this the budget phone that's actually kind of brilliant?
Yeah, it's definitely got people talking.
It does. So expert speaker, what's the word on the street? Is this just hype, or are we really looking at a whole new game for the SE line?
You know, it's feeling less like hype and more like Apple shaking things up a bit. The articles I've seen are painting a picture of a phone that's saying goodbye to that old SE design and embracing the iPhone 14 aesthetic. You know, OLED screen, Face ID, the works.
Seriously, man.
Yeah. But the real kicker, they're aiming to keep the price crazy competitive. Think somewhere between $429 and $419.
Okay, now that's what has me intrigued. A sleek design at that price point. Color me skeptical, but let's dig into the specs. What's under the hood that has everyone buzzing?
Well, first things first, we're talking about the A18 chip. That's the same one they're saying is going to be in the iPhone 16.
No way.
Yeah. So we're talking flagship level performance for potentially hundreds of dollars less.
Wow.
And, hold on, because it gets better, we're also looking at 8 GB of RAM.
Okay, now that's a serious amount of muscle, especially for an SE model.
Yeah.
What can you even do with that much RAM?
That's a lot of power for multitasking for sure. Basically, it means this phone could last you a really long time, even with new updates and apps coming out all the time.
Okay, so we're in speed demon territory. Got it. But what about the 5G situation? The article mentioned something about Apple using their own 5G modem for this phone. What's the significance there? I'll be honest, modem talk usually goes right over my head.
Oh, it's actually more interesting than you might think. See, Apple has always relied on other companies for their 5G modems, but this time they're taking the reins.
Interesting.
Yeah, and what that means is they'll have complete control over how the SE4 connects to the network.
Oh, I see.
So think insanely fast download and upload speeds, better battery life because everything's optimized, and maybe even fewer dropped calls.
So basically, no more dropped calls in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
I can definitely get behind that.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's talk camera for a sec, because the article casually mentioned a 48 MP main camera. That's got to be a typo, right? I mean, that's iPhone 16 quality we're talking about.
Nope, you read that right. 48 megapixels,
Right.
all yours. Yeah, but of course there's a trade-off. The SE4 seems to be laser-focused on delivering those core smartphone features really well. So you're getting an amazing main camera, but some of the bells and whistles from the pricier models are getting left behind.
Makes sense.
No action button, no ultra-wide or telephoto lenses, even the always-on display and promotion are MIA.
So it's like getting that Michelin star meal, but they forgot the amuse-bouche. You're still getting the main course, which is amazing, but maybe not all the fancy extras.
Oh, perfect analogy. And that's the big question you got to ask yourself. Do you really need all those extras, or are they just nice to haves?
I hear you. It's all about figuring out your priorities.
Wow.
But hold on. There's one thing in this article that has me totally geeking out. They mentioned Apple Intelligence being included in the SE4. That's the AI stuff, right?
Yep, that's right.
I thought that was only supposed to be in the expensive models.
It usually is, and that's actually a really big deal. To me, it says that Apple's getting serious about making AI more mainstream, more accessible for everyone.
Okay, I like the sound of that. But what does Apple Intelligence actually do? Is it one of those fancy buzzwords, or is it something I'm really going to notice when I'm using the phone?
It's definitely not just a buzzword. Think of it like having a personal assistant for your phone.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. It's working behind the scenes all the time, learning how you use your phone and what your habits are.
So it's like it gets to know me.
Exactly. And then it uses that info to do things like make your battery last longer so you're not constantly looking for a charger.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It can even predict what you need based on like where you are or what's on your calendar. It's all about making your phone smarter and more personalized to you, you know?
Okay, so basically my phone turns into my sidekick. Always one step ahead.
Pretty much.
I love it. But going back to this being a budget phone for a sec, is having Apple Intelligence in the SE4 a game changer, or is it more like a really cool hook?
Honestly, it could be huge.
Yeah.
See, AI uses a ton of processing power, so the fact that Apple's packing it into the SE4 alongside that powerful A18 chip and all that RAM tells me they're thinking long term. This isn't just about how the phone works today, it's about making sure it's ready for the wave of new AI-powered apps and features that are coming down the road.
Whoa, okay, now that is a deep dive. I'm starting to see why this phone has everyone so excited. So if I'm following you, the SE4 is less of a budget option and more like Apple redefining what we should expect when we buy a new smartphone.
You got it. They're giving you all the important stuff. Speed, a fantastic camera, and a future-proof foundation, but they're leaving out all the bells and whistles that, let's be honest, some people might not even use. It's a pretty streamlined approach, which is interesting for Apple.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so if Apple's going for a less is more approach, but with a powerful punch, who do you think they're targeting here? Is this for the techies on a budget, or is there a broader appeal?
It's a good question. I think they're trying to appeal to a few different groups of people. Obviously, the price makes it a no-brainer for anyone who doesn't want to spend a fortune on the most expensive iPhone. But it's also for those people who care about having a phone that's just really smooth and fast without needing every single new feature. You know, the people who care about it just working.
Right, the it just works crowd. Makes sense. But then you add in the whole AI element to the mix, and suddenly it's like this phone is also speaking to that early adopter in all of us.
Exactly. You get that Apple reliability and performance, but you're also prepared for whatever's coming next in the world of tech. It's honestly a really strategic move for Apple.
It's like they're saying, here's the future, but we'll make it affordable. Which is amazing. But I gotta ask, if the SE4 is really this good, does that hurt their other iPhones?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's not just Apple. Other phone makers are going to have to step up their game, too. If Apple can deliver this level of quality at a lower price, well, everyone else is going to need to figure out how to compete, which is a win for us, right?
Totally. More competition means better phones, and maybe even lower prices down the line. I'm here for all of that. But you mentioned earlier that the SE4 raises some interesting questions. What did you mean?
Well, think about what the SE4 doesn't have.
Okay, yeah.
No ultra-wide lens, no always-on display. These are features we see on a lot of phones today, but Apple's making them exclusive to their more expensive models. It's a way of creating that sense of exclusivity.
Ooh, that's interesting. So they're kind of making us crave the things we don't have, even if we never even realized we wanted those features in the first place.
Exactly. It's subtle, but it's really smart marketing. The SE4 gets you hooked on that core Apple experience, you know? The speed, the AI, that seamless integration.
Right.
And then maybe a little while down the line, you start thinking, that always-on display would actually be kind of nice.
And just like that, I'm at the Apple Store trading in my perfectly good SE4 for the newest model because suddenly I can't live without an ultra-wide lens. They got me.
And that's the game, right? The SE4 is a fantastic phone, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it also reminds us that these tech companies, especially Apple, they're really good at this whole creating desire thing. They make us want things we didn't even know we needed.
It's true. The iPhone SE4, a budget phone, a technological marvel, and a case study in how to subtly manipulate our tech-loving hearts. Mind blown.
It really gets you thinking,
Big time. Like what actually matters in a smartphone? What's a need versus just something that's nice to have? And honestly, how much of our tech desire is just clever marketing?
So many good questions.
I know, right? If you're even thinking about getting a new phone, the SE4 really makes you stop and think, which is a good thing. It's not just about comparing specs anymore. It's about knowing yourself, knowing what you value and how you really use your phone.
Couldn't agree more. Sometimes the best choice isn't the flashiest. It's the one that just makes the most sense for you.
So true. Well, that's about all the time we have for today's deep dive. Expert speaker, thanks so much for joining me. This was such an eye-opening look at what's coming next for smartphones and how sneaky those tech cravings can be.
My pleasure, as always.
And for everyone listening out there, until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep on diving deep.